So we have the most amazing, beautiful Jessica Schultz, and to know her is to love her. Heart of gold. She's incredible. One of the most go get people I've had the privilege of getting to know over the last few years. And you girls are in for a treat. And if you're new to Lunch and Learn, just a little housekeeping, just so you know, there is a Lunch and Learn Facebook group that you can go to. It is recorded. The YouTube, if you're not on social media, is literally my name. So my office girls, I don't promise it till Monday. But it may, we've been lucking out, knock on wood, it's been getting up there by tomorrow. But the promises are on Monday. So don't panic. The recording will be there, I promise, or anything I need to add to it. And we've been doing this, God works in funny ways sometimes. And makes this really started almost 3 years ago, just as my unit thing I did for my girls as a midweek pick me up. And oh yes, we need to plan our one-on-one. And so now we've even been planning one-on-ones, like our actual in-person lunch and learns once a month in Colorado Springs. So if you all have anybody, friends, family, consultants, whatever here, we try to do that once a month too. But it's been fun to learn from different divisions, different people you might not normally hear from. I don't care if your ink's wet or your national sales director. It's incredible to be here with like minds and to support each other. And we had the fantastic Jessica today, and that just had a little bundle of joy, which is so exciting. And she's still here. She is still here, showing up to feed all of your minds today with Lunch and Learn. And that's what I love about you, Jessica. You have grit, you have guts, you have everything it takes, no matter what you do in life, right? Personally or
Thank you.
business wise, that you show up no matter what, friend. And I respect you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all that you do for the Mary Kay world in general, besides this. But most importantly, thanks, because this truly is a go give thing. You did not have to take your time. The speakers here don't honestly get anything other than spending fun time with us real quick. But there's, sometimes I tell them they don't really benefit anything from this. They're just doing it out of the kindness of their hearts. So get pen and paper ready. I'm going to let her share a little bit about herself, because here's what I've learned. I could say all these amazing accolades for days about every speaker, especially Jessica. However, that's not all that she is. And so I let each speaker share what's important to them, because I'm going to talk about the grits and the gut and the quality of person they are. And so thank you for allowing us to be in your presence to learn from you today, my friend. You're incredible. Thank you. And I'm going to let you take over.
Well, thank you so much. It's my pleasure. I'm so humbled and honored to be here today with you guys. And thank you so much for Jennifer for the invitation. This is the beauty of our Mary Kay culture, right? That we can hear and learn and listen to one another, that we can hear from other people's experiences, other people's walks of life, other people's accolades. So, just a little bit about me. I live in St. Louis, Missouri. So Midwest. I know we're in Colorado and all over the country too, but I'm a Midwest girl, born and raised. I'm married, and I have two boys. I have a 7-year-old Parker, who has autism. And then I have a 7-week old Hudson, who, as Jennifer just said, was just born 7 weeks ago. So it has been a wild ride. So right now he is in his swing in the other room, and we are making it work, because that's what we do when we are work from home mamas or just mamas in general. We make it work, right? I've been in the company, it will be 11 years in April. I cannot believe it's been that long. And it has just been such a fun, wild ride. And I am in the Sapphire division. I just a little bit of my accolades. Earned 7 career cars, 4 of those pink Cadillacs, top trips to Barcelona, Spain, Edinburgh, Scotland, all kinds of fun stuff. And one of my proudest things is I have completed triple court, which for those who don't know, that is the court of personal sales, the court of recruiting, the court of sharing, and a unit club. So I've led my unit to unit club 9 consecutive times. So every year except my first year in the company, I've completed that. And this year, God willing, will be my 10th year of completing that. So it's just been so much fun. I've had the honor in the Sapphire division to be the second runner up to the Queen of Sharing, first runner up to the Queen of Sharing, and the Queen of Sharing, which has just been so fun. That's one of my funnest accolades, is that I was 1, 2, and 3. And then I've been like 8, 9, and all the other numbers. But anyways, that's just one of those fun things about me. So I'm so excited to train you a little bit today. Um, Jennifer asked me to share just something that I'm passionate about, you guys. And something that has been super monumental to my business has been the 6 most important things. And so I want to talk a little bit about that because if you didn't know, we are 6 months away from finishing our seminar year. And I cannot believe that personally. I cannot believe we are halfway through our seminar year. We only have 6 months left, but we have 6 months left. That's still a lot of time. And so I want to kind of talk about this lucky number 6, so to speak, and not only 6 more months, but our 6 most important things. I want to start out with a quote. Mary K.I.S. said in her book, From My Heart to Yours, I once heard an interesting statement. In the great elephant hunt of life, most of us spend our days stomping out ants instead of hunting elephants. She says, how true when you plan each day ahead of time by making a list of the 6 most important things I must do tomorrow, you can make the most of your day. So that to me was super convicting because I was like, oh man, how many days, how many hours am I wasting going around stomping out ants when I'm really hunting elephants? And for those of you who don't know, the root of the 6 most important things is based in a story. You can look it up. You can literally look up Mary Kay 6 most important things on Google. But it's a story that Mary Kay heard about Ivy Lee and Charles Schwab, and it's a story that they shared that it basically increases productivity. Okay, so we're going to narrow that thing down to 6 things. Now, if you're anything like me, I have to do a brain dump to get to my 6 things because I end up with like 28 million, and then I have to pick 6 out of there. So if anybody's a brain dumper, that is a good strategy to create your 6 most important things. So let's talk about the 6 most important things for our last 6 months of our seminar year. Number one, begin with the end in mind. Begin with the end in mind. This means that we're going to begin each day, each task, each project with a clear vision of your desired direction and destination. Where do you want to end up? Where do you want to end up? Stephen Covey says people are working harder than ever, but because they lack clarity and vision, they aren't getting very far. I can relate to that. I don't know if you can. They, in essence, are pushing a rope with all their might. Does anybody feel like that some days? Like you are pushing a rope instead of pulling that rope with all of your might, right? So we have to begin with the end in mind. Everything that we accomplish or are wanting to accomplish begins first in our mind. We have to visualize our goals, visualize crossing that finish line, completing that goal, running that mind movie. If you've ever heard of that before, our mind movie is basically you achieving that, you putting on that red jacket, you putting on that director suit, you picking up that career card, you walking across that seminar stage. Whatever that looks like for you, that's what that looks like. So, do you have your year end goal? Do you have the goal? Number one, have you decided what that's going to look like, what your business is going to look like, where you're going to be in the next 6 months? And then secondly, is it everywhere? Is it everywhere? Our very first year that we earned Scotland, and it was Scotland and Ireland, was the top trip. I had shamrocks all over my house. People that came into my house were like, are you Irish? Like they did not know what was going on. I literally had shamrocks everywhere. I had them in my fridge. I had them on my TV. I had them in my office. I had them in my bedroom. I had them in my mirror. I had shamrocks everywhere because that was my goal. So I looked a little crazy, but I achieved the goal. So are you willing to have your goal plastered everywhere? Have a picture of yourself in a red jacket. Have a picture of that Cadillac on your phone screensaver. Whatever that looks like. Where is your goal? If I walked into your house, if your sales director did, would we know your goal? Has that goal been set as a non-negotiable in your mind? Has it been determined? This is what I'm doing. No matter what, this is what's happening. No matter what. Has it been set as a non-negotiable? Does your family know about your goal? Does your family are they on board with the goal? Do they have buy-in? Do they know what they get when you achieve that goal, you guys? That is so stinking important. Is your goal poster made? Have you changed your daily affirmations to reflect that goal? These are all important things of how we can begin with the end in mind. Okay. And then lastly, with this, what are you doing to keep that goal in your sights? When we were finishing the Cadillac that we just finished most recently, I had a goal poster. It was a big poster. It was a thermometer and it had all of, oh no, yeah, I had a thermometer and it had all of the production that we needed to achieve as a unit, as a team, in order to achieve. And every single day I would color that in. And every single day I was looking at that, I was staring at that, and I was brainstorming of who can I talk to, who can I share this opportunity with, who can I book, all that jazz. That because that was, there's a reason out of sight, out of mind, right? It's a phrase for a reason. So we can't have it out of sight. It must be in your sight, you guys. Okay. Let's not forget Mary Kay Ash's very wise words. She says, what you think about, you bring about. So we have to be thinking about it in order for it to come to fruition. So, number one, begin with the end in mind. Number two, your personal work comes first. Y'all, I am super passionate about this. Mary Kay, I'm a believer in follow the money. Anybody else follow the money? I joined to make money in Mary Kay. We all are Mary Kay business owners. That means we should be profitable, that we should be able to have money. I always say my starter kit is my favorite ATM machine because it is. So every time I pick up my starter kit, I'm going to the ATM. That's what I have trained my mind to do. Mary Kay pays us 36% commission on our personal recruits. She pays us the highest commission on our sales, 50% profit on everything that we sell, you guys. Period. End of story. Follow the money. Personal sales, personal recruiting. That is what will make you the most money in this business. Now, I don't know about you all, but when I was brand new in Mary Kay, I'm a previous teacher, and I did not have any aspirations when I joined to be a sales director. None, not even on my radar. I didn't even wash my face when I joined the company. Let me just back the train up. I literally, I'm gonna be honest, you all are gonna be grossed out, but it's the truth. I'm a straight shooter. I had flaking mascara, grossiness happening because I would not wash my face. But every once in a while, when I went on a date night, I would be fancy and put on mascara, y'all. That was my life pre Mary Kay. No aspirations of that. This at all was gonna work for me. And 6 months later, I had earned my first free career car and was a Mary Kay sales director because my sales director, my recruiter was like, you can do the same work and make 13%, or you can do the same work over here as a sales director and make 36%. And I am not good at math, but I knew 36 is more than 13. So I obviously want to do this. So that is the only reason why I became a sales director, you guys, because I was willing to do the personal work and I wanted to be paid by the company more on whatever I was doing because I felt like that was fair, right? So you as your own independent Mary Kay beauty consultant or your own independent sales director should be the best booker, the best sharer, the best seller, the best overcoming objections, the best referral game player, the best recruiter that you possibly can. That's our job, you guys. That's what the company pays us the money on. And if you are brand new, which we all have been there, you should be attached to your sales director's hip to be able to soak all that up like a sponge to be able to get that from her. And if you are a sales director and you're not as strong in one area as you are in another, which we all have been there, find another sales director that's really good at the thing that you're not so good at and soak that up like a sponge, you guys. When we have a big audacious goal, we need to make sure that we aren't just pushing our teams, but we're pushing ourselves too. And I want you to break down and actually ask yourself, write this question down. How would your personal goal, your personal work, help towards your goal? How would completing a Power Start or a Power Start Plus, which is 45 faces in the month, how is that going to help you complete your goal of red jacket, of car, of court of sales, of court of sharing, whatever that looks like? How is your personal work? I want you to write that down. How, and it may be silly, as of course, when you see faces, you're going to have sales. So that's going to help you complete quarter sales, right? How it all goes back to the basics, you guys. All goes back to the basics, but our personal work comes first. Let me just break this down for those of us that are sales directors and those of us that aren't sales directors yet. I want to share with you the power of numbers. Now, I am not a math person. I hate math unless it's a paycheck, then I'm happy with it. But I don't like numbers generally. Okay. Anybody else can relate to that? I'm not a numbers person. Okay. But this makes me happy because it's something I can control. I'm also a control freak, and control freaks unite. So when you complete the National Court of Sales and the National Court of Sharing, you guys, did you know that that is a minimum of $76,000 in retail credit towards your unit club? Did you all know that? That is crazy. These are huge numbers, you guys. So know that when you're doing this, when you are working towards your goal, whatever that might be, it may not be quarter sales, it may not be quarter sharing, it may not be unit club, but when you work the numbers add up. Okay. Number 3. So number 1 is begin with the end in mind. Number 2 is personal work comes first. Number 3 is KISS. Keep it simple, sweetie. Keep it simple. Mary K.I.S.'s words. Keep it simple, sweetie. How are we going to do that the next 6 months? Number 1, we're going to focus on our IPAs, our income producing activities. Income producing activities boil down to 4 things. My unit always makes fun of me because this is all I talk about all the time. It comes to booking, holding, selling, and sharing. That's it. If you master 4 things in this business, you guys, you can be $1 million sales director, or at least a top sales director. I'm not $1 million sales director yet, but you can definitely be a top sales director with 4 things: booking, holding, selling, and sharing. That's it. We're going to focus on power starts, perfect starts, and tracking your faces, you guys. Mary Kay Ash had these systems in place for a reason. She had perfect start. She had power start. She founded that. She knew that that was a key to success in this business. So we can't try to reinvent the wheel and then wonder why our wheels are stuck in the mud, right? We have to stick with what we know and what works in this business: booking, holding, selling, and sharing, right? Then we have to break it down. Keep it simple, sweetie. Mary Kay Ash said you can eat an elephant, what? One bite at a time. Sometimes when we look at a 6-month goal or a year-long seminar goal, we're like, oh my gosh, that's impossible. But we have to break it down into bite-sized pieces. So are you taking your goal, whatever that is, whatever you set, your end in mind? And are you breaking that down into bite-sized pieces? Are they in 30-day chunks, 60-day chunks, 90-day chunks? Are you breaking those down to where you are going to be able to, on June 30th, be able to cross that finish line? Figure out what your personal sales, your personal faces, your personal recruits, your team recruits, what your wholesale needs to be each month to achieve whatever your end is. And don't forget that when we shoot for the moon, we land amongst the stars, right? So no matter what, a track number grows. And when you actually work the numbers and break it down and work those numbers, no matter what happens, you're going to land amongst the stars. Okay, number 4, work the numbers. So this is working the number. I mean, very simple, you guys. Work the numbers. How many faces are you away from completing your goal? How many dollars in sales this week, today, this month are you away from your goal? How many new team members do you need to finish your goal? How many faces are you away from your power up achievement, you guys? This is what we have to do. We have to work the numbers. This business is not magical, it's mathematical. It all breaks down by the numbers. When you work the numbers, you will never be disappointed because you'll be able to project and know what to expect out of your business. So are you tracking those numbers? So if you know that, once you know the numbers, we can't just know them, we have to then track them. So we have to be able to have knowledge of where we're going, right? A track number grows. I personally, you guys, have seen 30 faces every single month in my business. I have personally recruited personally not recruited. I wish. Thank you, Lord, for that providential. I personally facialed 5,000 women. And the way that I do this, and I can share this with Jennifer as well, is I have a gold medal tracking sheet. So every month I track my bookings, my faces that I see, the sales from each of those people, the leads that I get, and the interviews, and then therefore the subsequent team members, you guys. And I can share this with her if that will be helpful for you. But a track number grows, you guys. You cannot trust your brain. Mary K.I.S. said, the faintest ink is stronger than the most retentive memory. We have to track it, meaning put it on paper, write it down with a hand. Technology is great, but again, we have to go back to keep it simple, sweetie. She knew writing it down. There's a scientific situation happening, you guys, if you don't know, when you actually take a pen and write something versus when you're typing it. It's very different what's happening in your brain. It's more concrete when you're actually writing it than when you're texting it or typing it on a computer. So we have to write that number down, track those numbers by hand. Okay. So let's just go over what we got so far. We have begin with the end in mind, right? We have to have a goal. We have personal work comes first. That's going to back up the goal. That's how we're going to get there. We have KISS, keep it simple, sweetie. We have work the numbers. And then number 5, we have build consistency. Build consistency. This is one of my favorite things. And I know it's the bane of many people's existence, but it's one of my favorite things. Because again, control freak, I can control consistency. That makes me happy. Bruce Lee said, this is one of my favorite quotes, you guys. Bruce Lee said, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. I'll repeat that again. I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks just one time, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. Consistency counts, you guys. It matters. So how many of us can actually have a little bit of reflection and think, man, I am right now in my business trying to do 10,000 kicks one time instead of one kick over and over and over and over and over and over and over again because it works. I tell my unit all the time, I would rather them have 4 $200 sale weeks than 1 week of $800 in sales and then $0 the rest of the 3 weeks of the month. Why? Because the first way to build consistency is ultimately sustainability in your business. So if you are awesome, $1,000 week, 0, 0, 0, 50, you are not creating sustainability in your business. That's not sustainable. So therefore your business is going, woo, and you're on the high and then you crash. You have a sugar crash basically in your business. Sugar crashes don't feel good. Sugar crashes don't make you want to go back and book. Sugar crashes don't make you want to go and do the work that got the high to begin with, right? You're just like, where'd the high go, right? We have to build consistency. If you've started anything in life, working out, dieting, going to work, right? We have to create consistency to get the results. Many times I see so many consultants working their business sporadically and then they get frustrated with the results. Well, the frustration's coming from the sporadicness. Consistent results must have consistent actions behind it. Please write that down. Consistent results must have consistent actions behind it. So if you want to be a power up achiever, you have to do the actions first, booking, selling, right? Before you can get the wholesale to place that 700 plus to be able to have that power up achiever status. If you want to complete the court of sharing, you have to see faces to find the people to share the opportunity. The action has to precede any results that you're hoping for. Think of your business like a conveyor belt, you guys, in an assembly line. In order for something to be built, you have to put something into it. It doesn't just come out of robot. Like I think a robot because my 7-year-old really loves robots right now. So it doesn't just come out of robot. You have to put in the body and the head and the arms and the legs to get a robot from the conveyor belt, from the machine, right? From the assembly line. The faces that we see, the bookings that we make, the interviews that we complete are a direct result of your wholesale. It goes leads, lead to bookings, leads to faces, leads to sales, leads to recruits. It's a pyramid. How many of us actually admit, man, I'm just looking for the sales and I'm not looking at the leads or the bookings before I get to the sales. Well, that's a problem. You're skipping steps. How
Mhm.
many of us can say, I'm waiting for the recruits, I'm waiting for the team members, I really want to be that red jacket, but you're not looking at, do I have leads? Do I have bookings? Do I have faces that I've seen? Do I have sales that have come from those faces? Those are all precursors to the results of having new team members, you guys. People often ask me, and I don't know if they ask you or have asked, or if you've asked your sales director, like, what would I attribute to my success? And I really would say the number one thing is my consistency, you guys. That is the key to successful business. I don't like, personally, I'm a safety and security gal. I don't like, woo, 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 woo. That gives me anxiety. Like I lose my mind a little bit with that. I like, do, 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 woo, I like consistency because that gives me power and confidence in my business, you guys. We underestimate what this does to our confidence, to our belief. So making sure that you are staying consistent as best as you can. Now, I want to tell you, I want to share with you guys, that's going to change, right? The consistency is going to look a little differently. But I really want to talk about number 6, and that's where we're going to dive into that again. Number 6 is give your absolute best. That's what we're going to do in the next 6 months. Give our absolute best. How are we going to do this? How, Jessica? Number 1, how we're going to give our absolute best is we're going to keep our blinders on. If you all don't know what that is, race horses have blinders, literal fabric things, I guess, or leather. I think they're leather. I don't know. Literal things on their eyes that keep them from looking at the other horses that they're racing. They are only looking right in front of them, forward. We're going to keep our blinders on. No one's best is like your best. My best is going to look different than Jennifer's. Jennifer's is going to look different than Sarah's. Sarah's is going to look different than Rhonda's, and so on and so forth, and so on and so forth, you guys. And your best is going to look different day to day, hour to hour, you guys. I have a 7-week-old, and we just had a giant snowpocalypse 2 weeks ago after Christmas. And so I had an extra lovely week with my son with a new Switch video game system, which was a whole situation in my household with a newborn. Let me just tell you. So, y'all, my best looked different that week, and it looks different today than it did when I was pregnant. It looks different when I was pregnant than when I wasn't pregnant, right? Why do we think that we can always stay perfect and at 100%? This is not possible. Giving your best today may look different than giving your best tomorrow. Giving your best to tomorrow may look different than it looked last week, but it's still giving your best. Asking yourself, did I give my best today? And number 2, we're going to foster belief in yourself. This is a big one, you guys. Belief is a big, big thing to being able to give your absolute best. Now, y'all, I'm sure you've heard throughout your Mary Kay business, as I've heard, these crazy stories of impossible things happening and things that crazy numbers, right? Kathy Halou, National Sales Director Maritime, did $2 million. She and her unit did $2 million in sales in a year. That is crazy to me, right? These crazy, crazy numbers. But a lot of times we can be our own worst enemy. So we can look at somebody's amazing success story and think, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. That's so incredible for them. I could never do that. Right? I don't think I could ever do that. That wouldn't be me. Right? Belief is either your best friend or your worst enemy in this business. It's one or the other. And if you don't have strong belief, it's okay. But there's a couple ways that we can build that. There's 2 ways that I want to talk about to build belief. Number 1, retell your victories to yourself. Y'all, whenever I get down on myself, which we all get there, we all have those moments, I have to remind myself who I am. As silly and stupid as it sounds, I'm so grateful that my unit club plaques are behind me. So every time I get on Zoom, I'm like, oh yeah, that's I did that. Okay. I helped lead that. Okay, great. It's just that reminder. I have my Queen of Sharing crown right here that I'm looking at. I have reminders all over in my face of who I am, of telling myself those victories. So tell yourself your victories, write them down. What was your highest class? What was your highest week? What was your biggest commission check so far? What was your biggest aha moment? When was there was a time where I shared the Mary Kay I facialed somebody. She literally looked at herself in the mirror and she started to weep, you guys, because she's like, I feel beautiful. I've never felt beautiful. Y'all, those are stories of victory that we so often forget. And it steals that belief and steals that joy. What was it like completing your first power start, your first perfect start, your first facial, for heaven's sakes, right? All the courage and the victory that was. So number one, how we're going to build our belief is we're going to retell our own victory stories back to ourselves. We're going to remind ourselves of our victories that we've had already. Even if you are brand spanking new, a single day in Mary Kay, you signed a Mary Kay beauty agreement. That took courage. That is brave. That is a victory. Absolutely. And the second way that we're going to build our belief is we're going to allow others to pour into us and tell us what they believe about us. This is a hard one, you guys. This is not easy because I think, as women, a lot of times are doubting Thomases. So when women say something about us, like Jennifer just said all these lovely things about me, and I'm like, okay, breathe, Jessica. Believe, right? Because we see all the struggles, we feel all the struggles, we see all the internal pitfalls, you guys. And so often we can look at somebody else and think, oh, they've got it together. Oh, their life is perfect. Oh, they blah, 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 blah. It's just not true. We all struggle. So you have to believe what other people share about you, you guys, that they know what they're talking about. The beauty of this business is that everyone ahead of us has already walked the path and experienced the journey that we are on now. Every single one of us knows what it looks like to be in the position that we are right now. Isn't that so cool to think about? So we can't allow ourselves to be doubtful when our mentors and our coaches and our sales directors, when they believe in us and breathe that belief into us, because this is going to give us strength and a new perspective of what we're capable of. And the biggest thing about this one, you guys, is it's a choice. And that is the most irritating thing to me, but it's true. It's a choice. It's a choice to either believe the lies and the not nice things that we may think about ourselves, or believe the truth and what someone else is breathing into us. But ultimately, the choice is yours. So at the end of the day, you guys, I hope that you will take these 6 most important things that we talked about, implement one after the other, begin with the end in mind, figure out what you want to do, figure out where you want to go in the next 6 months, figure out where you want to be celebrated on June 30th and July 1st, you guys, where you want to be celebrated on that seminar stage. I know you can do it. And remember, in finality, Mary Kay-Ash's final words, she said, it's only impossible. It only seems impossible until it's done. I wish you the best, most prosperous next 6 months in your Mary Kay business.
Oh my gosh, that was incredible, my friend. So incredible. Oh my gosh, your chat, you need to go look at the chat. All these, sometimes I just feel like I hope you watch the recording so all you do is read the chat of how incredible everybody thinks you are. Because sometimes we need those, you know, daily reminders too, right? Oh my gosh, that was sensational. Did anybody, so yes, Jessica, I see that in there. Yes, if you will share your tracker with me. And when I post the recording in Facebook, I will post that also, girls. So if you're not part of that Lunch and Learns group, it's Mary Cash and like a red vintage. It's like the old Applause magazine, vintage applause, and it has her red dress. So that's the one that this is part of. So
Okay.
I'll put that. Jessica will send it to me, and then I'll put it with the recording, so you all have that. So 2,000 women aren't blowing your phone up trying to get that while the baby's sleeping, right? Thank you again, my friend, for doing that. Did anybody have a question real quick or anything they need to say to Jessica or ask Jessica? You'll have to unmute because I muted you all.
Hey, Jessica, listen, thank you so much for sharing. I wrote, like, I feel like a whole notebook on your goodies. And thank you so much for reminding us how important it is to get that six most important things and then to break it down for us. And we can't wait for your sheets. So thank you so much for giving of your time.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody else? I don't want to miss anyone. Yeah, Jana.
I would just like to say thank you for, I mean, literally, I feel like you're somewhere in my apartment and you have been nosy in all through everything, how you had time to have a baby and be in my business is crazy. I feel like I, I mean, I know there's like several women on here, but I feel like you are somewhere in my apartment. I am looking for you, or you're in cahoots with my sister every single step, every 6 month thing. I was like, I felt like I got called out, and it just stood out that I've been struggling. You know, I can get leads. I can go out right now and get 5 leads. I get leads at the gym. I get leads in the sauna room at the gym. So leads is not my problem. Getting them to book and show up and everything is my problem. So I pretty much was like, you know what, forget this. I'm not going to do it. So I sat still, had a little pity
Mm.
party. It's lasted too long. And then my director was like, hey, you don't have a whole lot of money coming in. And I was like, yeah. So I have a weekly call with my director, and I, the little bow ring showed up on social media and everything. I was like, okay, I said, I need this ring. I need to get this. So we broke it down what I need to do monthly. And we didn't have time to break down what I need to do weekly and daily and everything. And then you just reminded me, do a perfect start, do a power start. If I focus on the faces, even if it's one face at a time, the money will come, even if it's just, $100 time wise kit, a time wise, skincare, there's the little one, or the most least expensive one. Then the money will come, and I won't be so focused on, is this, 700, 700, 700, 700, all that. So, clearly I've got everything. I've got all the pieces, but I've got them all out of order, and no wonder the puzzle isn't complete because I've got all the pieces reached.
Yeah.
And I too have to be in control.
I love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think you guys sometimes, just to piggyback on that, we make it harder than it actually is. It's not hard. This business is not easy, but it's simple, right? So it takes courage to do, but it really just go back to the basics. Mary Kay Ash was so smart. She knew what was going to make us prosperous women and make us successful businesswomen. And it all started with faces. And so if you're not seeing consistent faces, start there. How am I going to see consistent faces? And then you're absolutely right, Jan. Everything else falls in line from there. Everything else.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And choose your hard. Choose your hard. You get to decide what's hard and what's easy. And it's really funny how everyone would pick something different, where I would view it as hard and you view it as easy, and vice versa. So just remember,
Yeah.
take control in everything that you want, and not just in business, but in life, because what you give power to has power on you. So remember that too. So incredible lunch and learn this week, ladies. I'll get that recorded. Remember, I don't promise till Monday, but you might luck out and get it tomorrow. So I know my phone starts blowing up. All the messages come. Where's the recording? I promise you, we will get it. So if you're new, hang tight, but we'll get it out there. And I'll attach her tracking form when she sends it to me too, so you'll all have it in one spot. But thank you, ladies. I hope you all have an amazing Thursday. Thanks, Jessica.
Bye.
Bye, ladies.
Thank you. Thanks.